Hello everyone, today is November 2nd, the Halloween decorations are coming down, the costumes going into their sad cardboard boxes, possibly never to be seen again, and today we'll be talking about movement in Overwatch. That is, ducking and jumping and a little bit of strafing. Now, the most important thing you need in order to master the art of movement in this game is to actually know what jumping and ducking does. Like, what is the physical result of doing the action, and how will it affect your opponent? I feel like a lot of people sort of have a general idea of jump good, makes hard to hit, and, that's okay to start off with, but all of us here are sophisticated chaps, so let's dig a little bit deeper and become true masters of the duck and jump. Let's take a look at a classic example here. I'm playing McCree, and my partner in crime will be jumping up and down at a distance. You can see that he isn't actually pulling himself away from my crosshair, but he is avoiding the headshot. Also, I only have to move my crosshair a very small distance to track him, even when he strafes back and forth like this. Again, we're jumping, but now we're up close. In this case, all of Lucio's movements will appear to be more dramatic, including, of course, his jump. You can see that he falls completely off my cursor when he jumps like this. Also, if I want to track him up and down, I need to move my crosshair a much larger distance compared to before. And when he strafes around me, I need to do these full 180, 360 motions or more just to track him at all. So jumping at a distance is only good to throw off a headshot. You still get hit in the body like we saw before, and it only works really on the first jump, as subsequent jumps are pretty easy to track. Jumping close up dodges the entire shot, and continued jumping makes it really difficult for your opponent to properly track you. So when dealing with mid to long range threats, you should jump sparingly, not too much. And when you're close up, go ahead and spam away. Of course, not all heroes have the same jump animation. They actually vary quite a bit. Many of the tanks, for example, sort of distend their legs a bit when they jump, meaning that even close up, they won't avoid body shots just from jumping. Other heroes have particularly amazing jump animations, like Widowmaker is a classic one, whose jump animation will put her outside of body shot range even from these longer distances because her legs tuck up into her body. Always keep in mind exactly what your model is doing to the opponent's aim when you jump. Basically, don't just spam jump like this. You can see it isn't very challenging to track. Instead, abuse the fact that it's hard to correct small distances at mid to long range by strafing back and forth. And then, after a few seconds, when your opponent's kind of settled, kind of comfortable in their aim, you can jump, and that will throw him off. And then, again, stay on the ground for a bit, and then after a few seconds, your opponent's kind of comfortable again, keeping his crosshair at that head level, then you jump, which will throw it off again. Never let your opponent settle into a pattern, and you can see here that it's much more difficult to track the Lucio when he moves like this. Alright, now let's talk about ducking. So duck has a big advantage over jump in that at mid to long range for most heroes, it completely peels your model off of their crosshair. Remember that if you jump at this distance, it still results in a body shot. Now, ducking does the same thing up close, but the issue with that is your head is shoved straight into their face, so that all they have to do is look down a little bit and it's immediately a headshot. That makes it really risky to duck up close, but it can be really effective if it takes your opponent by surprise. So for example, if you're jumping around your opponent and then you suddenly duck for a second, that could really throw them off. Just don't do it too much because of what I said. Ducking occasionally, combined with strafing, can be really effective at throwing off your opponent's aim, especially from these mid-distances. Like jumping, however, if your opponent catches onto it, it's really easily counterable by simply aiming at the chest, because if you aim at the chest and you duck, it becomes a headshot, remember? Again, the best use for ducking is to do it occasionally, and when the opponent's aim is predictable. Here's one of the best uses of duck, actually. Most players, when they turn a corner and they see an enemy, they just go off of instinct. The crosshair flies to the head and they click, and that's good. That's sort of the muscle memory you want to be training. Different levels of players do this at varying speeds, but all players try to do this. And if a player is aiming correctly, you know that their crosshair is going to be on your head sometime relatively soon after they round the corner. If you're at a higher level, it's going to be faster, and if you're at a lower level, it's going to be slightly slower. But no matter what the level, that's what they're trying to do. This is a really predictable action. So if you simply duck, most of the time, their first shot around the corner will whiff, just like this. This is a very predictable action. That's why my go-to move when I encounter an opponent around a corner and it's sort of a surprise, I always open it up by ducking, because usually they will whiff their first shot. It's really like a dance. You should be knowing where they're going to want to put their crosshair and doing the option that makes that less likely to succeed. And also remember, you're manipulating your crosshair with your movement. If you duck, the crosshair is going to tend downward. If you jump, it's going to tend upward. And this is what I mean when I sometimes say move smart. Don't just spam duck and jump because they kind of make you harder to hit for some reason. Think about be very specific. Think about where your opponent is aiming and take the action that manipulates their crosshair to go where you want it to go at that particular moment. For example, if you're getting shot at and you're about to jump up onto a ledge, your opponent might tend their crosshair up a bit. You can duck to take advantage of this, and that pulls their aim down so that then you can jump up onto the ledge and they'll have to pull their crosshair back up. So, all right, I think we get that. Now let's talk about some extra little exceptions and things you need to know. So, heroes who don't need to headshot, like Ana and Zarya, will generally not have their crosshair on your head at all. They'll have it on your chest. This makes ducking a lot less useful for those heroes, or against those heroes, rather, as ducking generally only counters headshots. Jumping is more effective, however, because someone aiming at chest level will have their crosshair completely pulled off of your model when you jump. After that, though, you have to jump sparingly because, as we saw before, it's pretty easy to body shot someone who's jumping in a predictable sort of fashion. Oh, also, by the way, mobility options don't have any effect against Winston. Now, a lot of people have issues with Genji's double jump. As you can see, it's actually not that strong of an option if you just understand how it works. The trajectory is predictable and pretty slow, and it's especially really easy to hit when they're falling down. When you're playing Genji, you need to try to hide yourself or do a wall climb to avoid this easy to hit falling down time. When you're aiming against Genji though, it's your best friend. So if your aim is a little wonky and you're having trouble hitting him on his way up, go for the shot while he's on your way down. It'll be a lot easier for you. Also, Ana's crouching animation is ridiculous. Seriously, look at this. Look at that. Meanwhile, her jumping animation isn't really that great, so if you're going to spam anything on Ana, spam that crouch button. So I invite you again to go check out the animations for your hero and see the special strengths and weaknesses of your jump and your duck and even your strafe, because some heroes' models get kind of wonky when they're strafe, sort of like McCree. So go into a practice match with a friend or something and just take a look, get a feel for exactly what happens to your hitbox when you take all these mobility options and use that to your advantage in your games. Okay, head over to my Twitter for updates and the occasional extra bit of content. I know I've been slacking a little bit on those mini videos for a while, but when I do start posting them again soon, you'll want to know. So the link for that is in the description. Like if you liked it, which I hope you did, and leave questions and comments down below. I hope you got something out of it, maybe learned something, maybe even had a little bit of fun. So stay positive and have a great day. Peace out, guys.